The ultimate thing that we were all started to do this for was to protect the citizens of Overland Park.
Good people that had other jobs and careers decided that at the time the bell went off, they would assemble to help each other.
That was a goal back when Benjamin Franklin started this whole deal. That's the same goal we have today.
I think our evolution is not different than many other suburban areas around a metropolitan area that had an organized fire service. 1919 is when that happened here.
Business people pooled some money, got together equipment. They would literally send runners around to try to get people to volunteer to come and help.
There was an unmet need. Folks assembled. There was a common mission and goal.
Volunteer is how it all started.
The original fire apparatus, I presume it was some kind of a Model T or Model A, was kept in a garage called Shepherd's Garage. It was right across in a building right across the street from the current clock tower. So that was kind of ground zero for the first fire station, if you will, of where the apparatus was parked. Slightly after that, of course, there was a county district availability to create a fire tax district, so people raised money to buy equipment. That very first truck that's stored currently at Station 5, that 1940 era truck, was built just before World War II. But when World War II broke out, the War Department took control of that truck before it was delivered to us and sent to Lake City, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, that Lake City Arsenal, where they manufactured small ammunition for military use in World War II. So that truck stayed over there for 3 or 4 years before it came home. That piece of truck has some great stories to tell, I'm sure.
The original goal is still there. I don't care if you have an old fire truck or a new fire truck, old firefighter, new firefighter, the goal is the same. You know, protect property and lives.
Fast forward up through into the 50s and 60s where that was all volunteer until a few employees were hired to really organize and be a foundation.
A lot of people come to Overland Park, or did come to Overland Park to volunteer to get the training so that they could further their career as a paid firefighter.
These are individuals that knew what the fire service was about and knew that, quite honestly, that with that experience that Overland Park was a destination location to put that service to use.
We were called the paid men, the paid guys. And there were not many of us, and several of us would work a shift, go home, and then come back and spend my day at the station running calls, volunteering, just because I love to do it.
The culture of the fire departments in the 60s, 70s was always interior, aggressive, offensive attack mode to all fires, all structures. And never ever was consideration of defensive firefighting from the get-go. You always went in.
There may only be 6 guys there. If the ambulance was out, there may have only been 5 or fewer, and they took a couple of trucks and they took care of business.
If a call came out close to you, you went.
Early on, there was no such thing as automatic aid. You were on your own, brother. And I said, you were hanging out there. everybody smoked. God, that was one of the things we did after a heavy fire. Light up a good cigarette. Got to have a cigarette and a cup of joe. You know, the John Wayne bravado type, macho. I can take it. That permeated the country's fire service until probably I want to guess, middle 80s when the incident command.
Captain was away, we got a house fire, pulled up, Overland 2, 1097, which meant on scene. Smoke showing, 412's command. And the dispatcher's long pause. Okay, 412's command. We got back to the station, and the phone rings. And it was Chief Brooker. And he goes, it's all this command shit. I said, Chief, it's what we're learning in college. It's called the instant command system, and you have one guy that establishes himself as the person running the fire. Yeah, well, I guess that's okay. But just remember, when I show up, I'm in charge. I don't care what you say.
I started in 1985 with a group of 13. We were the first big class to be hired in Overland Park.
Believe it or not, there was still farm ground in Overland Park in 1985 where the two towers are at 95th and Metcalf was Joe's barn.
Overland Park began to annex areas in the south, and I mean, when they did, the building boom took over, and we probably doubled our nearly doubled our population in just maybe 10 years.
Overland Park was a private company, Overland Park Fire Department Incorporated.
Yeah, we were basically, the city paid us to manage the personnel, and they bought all of our trucks through a CIP program and built all of our fire stations at the time.
But Overland Park had a great reputation. They were known for being the aggressive firefighters, the cowboys of the county, you know. I think it's because Jim Brookard and Chief Mays and all the other guys, Jim McGee's, Harold Beach, all the guys we could name, all the captains, those guys knew how to fight fire. And they were really good at it, and they had opportunities because we had a lot of fires.
It wasn't unusual on the 4th of July to run 4 or 5 roof fires, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Just taking roofs off right and left with the wood roofs.
It took a long time to get that changed and to lose the status symbol of a wood roof.
We kind of went on a campaign that we need to do something. We actually had a wood roof fire the weekend before the city council meeting. I happened to go by one of the construction sites that was putting on shingles and got a flyer off of the shake shingles. And when I flipped it over, there's big bold print on the back of it. It says, make sure you continue to keep your scraps because it makes great kindling for starting fires. And we blew that up to about the size of a school bus and put that on a big screen at the city council meeting. The vote was like 7-0 or whatever. So I feel pretty proud about that. I think that was one of the big things that we got accomplished during my tenure as the fire chief.
Overland Park Fire Department was very progressive for its day.
You know, they were one of the first to have career firefighters, to have the ambulances, and then one of the first in the county to do the fire medics or paramedics in a fire-based system.
We bought our first imaging camera that was a refurb military camera.
It was about the size of a large Folger can. It was round and it had a handle on the bottom of it, and you hold on to it, and it had like a sight space where you could look through. You could misread it too. It would give not false senses, but you could read the image that you were looking at, which might be something that was warmer, but it wasn't warm because of the fire. So you might be ripping walls apart where maybe, oops, you know, I just tore apart a room that I didn't really need to.
AEDs first came out, and we thought we don't have to be a paramedic. We can now shock patients. We went back to the city and pleaded a case with the city, thought we could save some lives, and Don Pipes was the city manager at the time. He called up and called Christie, which was the finance director. Hey, I'm sending Dennis and Bill down. get the information, give them $80,000. And believe it or not, the first call that we had when we went in service, the first call was like a 32-year-old construction worker, hooked the guy up, shocked him, brought him back before medic even. First call. So we brought a guy back. So they kind of really emphasized the need of that. The hazmat, imaging cameras, AEDs, positive pressure ventilation. Overland Park is pretty much on the leading edge of everything like that.
I think most proudly as I investigated some fires that were very difficult. It was such a good feeling to be able to give the owner of the home or the business an answer as to why the damage occurred or how it occurred, to be able to explain what happened to a family that they lost, had a loved one that was lost. And not just say, shrug your shoulders and say, I'm sorry, but I can't tell you why it happened. I'm very proud of my time here at Overland Park, and I would do it all over again.
It's a special brotherhood.
I'm proud of it.
As a 100-year milestone, we're an organization that in a very short period of time went from a band of volunteers that really saw a need and did it the right way to an agency that is going to pretty much be running from county line to county line.
We run more than twice the number of calls than the closest comparable fire department in the county. So we see twice what everyone else sees. So we're benefited by having twice the experience in the field as anyone else.
20 years from now, this city, who knows what the population is going to be, but I have no doubt Overland Park Fire will be there to handle it.
When people tell me they appreciate the job that I do, we do as firefighters, as first responders, I make it a point to tell them that I've been blessed to have the opportunity to do it. And I believe that's true.
You're mopping up, you're leaving the scene, walking away from the scene and headed back to the pumper. All the neighborhoods out there standing around and you walk by and they go, thank you. That makes it all worth it.
At every fire station that covers geography within Overland Park, or whether it's fire marshal's office or a training division, you have leaders there that make sure that we're good at what we do and we live up to the expectations and the missions of that the community frames for us.
When they're having their worst day, they call us to come and help them. And you got to think about that. You want to make sure you're not having your worst day that day, because they're counting on you to be the best. Counting on you to be the best.
You know, our code save rate is quite honestly amongst the best in the country. The 4th largest fire department, serving the 2nd largest city in the municipality, and getting the grades and the performance that we do with the culture that we have is a testament to all the men and women that serve on this organization. We do it better, we can show it, we can prove it, it's not bragging, and it's pretty neat to be a part of.
Several years back we had a call on the highway. 2 girls had been in a car wreck. They were hit by a plumbing van. These girls have devastating injuries. We package them up, put them on the cot, take them to the hospital. We're assuming it's going to be a death investigation for the Highway Patrol. They do their stuff. They were shocked that we got them off the scene so fast. A couple years later, they call us up, come by visit with us. A couple years later, we get an invitation to the wedding. We get to go to the wedding. We see Lacey. We get to see her on her worst day and her best day. And that makes it worth it.
People always want to help, but they don't know how. We know how. A firefighter will say there's nothing like it.
And they knew when I was there that I was a firefighting son of a bitch.